So we're going to play a little game of Guess the Song today. I'm going to read you some lyrics, see if you can guess the song. Generals gathered in their masses, just like witches at black masses. Evil minds that plot destruction, sorcerers of death's construction. In the fields the bodies burning, as the war machine keeps turning. Death and hatred to mankind, poisoning their brainwashed minds. Oh, yeah. Politicians hide themselves away. They only started the war. Why should they go out into the fight? They leave that rule to the poor. Time will tell on their power minds, making war just for fun, treating people just like pawns in chess. Wait till their judgment day comes. Oh, yeah. And that day will come. I'll give you a few seconds. You know what it is? You got the song. It's War Pigs. And War Pigs is what we are dealing with once again. War Pigs. Yeah. Pretty scary stuff in another war, huh, folks? What we're here to talk about today is the National Defense Authorization Act, the NDAA. And that act was brought through on December 18th of 2025, and it mandates that the Selective Service System, the SSS, and we just love three-letter abbreviations for some reason, and agencies and, I don't know, gematria, transition from manual to automatic registration by December 18th, 2026. It will affect all male U.S. citizens and most male non-citizen residents age 18 to 26, and they will be automatically added to the registration list using existing federal databases. Congress introduced this to simplify the process. You know, it's all about simplifying the process because it's all about helping you, right? To ensure legal compliance, as failure to register is a federal felony that can block access to student aid and federal jobs. And you know, they don't want that. It's to help you, of course, for the people, always. No active draft. The rumors. It made it clear when I went to look up this topic and to find this information to present it to you. It made sure to make sure that it used the keywords rumors, theories, you know, conspiracy theories, you know, all these little catchphrases that they like to throw out there, you know, to make sure that you know, don't listen to what you're being told. Listen to us here. This is where the real information's at. Sources you can trust. Anyway, it's reinstating an actual draft, induction into the military. That would still require a separate act of Congress and the president's signature in a response to a national emergency. So you don't have to worry about it. The U.S. has maintained an all-volunteer military since the last draft that ended in 1973. Yeah, so see, folks, it would still require a separate act to go through the Congress or a national emergency. Well, I don't know about you, but I seem to remember a few national emergencies and state emergencies that just happened to somehow, with the swipe of a pen, remove more of my rights. How is that? Well, it's through these type of national emergencies that they get unlimited amounts of power these days. Just a few examples of that come to mind. You have Katrina. I remember Hurricane Katrina. Now, I don't know if that was a national emergency, but just even the state of emergency brought with it martial law in the streets of Louisiana, if you don't remember. I do. I remember. And then you had in 2019, that nasty virus that was going around. Well, that was a national emergency. And with that came all kinds of power too. Hopefully I don't have to remind you of all of that. And then you had following 9/11, President George Bush, he declared a national emergency after 2001 attacks that allowed for indefinite suspension of laws regulating military size, facilitating the deployment of armed forces. And so you can see here, folks, that having that little loophole in there, because they love loopholes, right? It's all about them loopholes. And so by having those loopholes in there, such as national emergency, well, to me, that's not a loophole. That's what do they call it? Oh, noose. That's what it is. A noose. Yeah. That's a noose. Because I can see what's coming here. Okay. The old problem, reaction, solution tactic out of the old playbook. The old Hegelian dialectic. It's been used over and over and over again. Luckily, more people are waking up and recognizing it now. That's a good thing. But we are literally one false flag away from that national emergency and that signature and them sending your kids to war. And so that doesn't give me a very warm, cushy feeling. No, not at all. And so I don't know about you, but makes me pretty uneasy. I don't like it at all. Because I recognize what these wars are now, and hopefully you do as well. Because all it's doing is lining the pockets of the elite. Building the accounts of the world bankers who fund both sides of the war and fueling that machine that is the military-industrial complex. That's what it's doing. Not my kids' blood. Nah. Sorry. Ain't happening. And I really hope that we stand up and take a stand on this. Because this is ridiculous. They like to say here that this is because, what did they say? They said they introduced this to simplify the process and to ensure legal compliance, as failure to register is a federal felony that can block access to student aid and federal jobs. So that's why they did it. That's why they did this. It had nothing to do with the fact that the millennials and Gen Z, these kids that are going to be affected by this, grew up in the information age and they're not falling for their mainstream propaganda. No, they're not patriotic like the old boomers were, because the information's all in front of them. They see what's going on, and they're not willing to give up their life for these sick elite. I'm not even going to say the word, but hopefully you're more acquainted with it now that those files came out. So I think that that's the problem. They recognize that they don't have the stronghold that they once had over the public with their propaganda. And they realize that these kids, they want no part of that war machine. And so that's a threat to them because they love their war. And you know, it's a shame because those neocons that are pushing for this, the loudest voices pushing for this, I will guarantee you they were the kids on the school bus who got their ears plucked. So I made another video about that I'll link here somewhere at the end. It's an important message, so I hope you'll watch it. Anyway, that's where we're at, folks. This is a serious thing. Better be paying attention to these type of things, as the distractions are many and they're all around us. And as we're distracted, these are the type of acts and bills that are being passed while we're not paying attention, trying to steal our children and send them off to war. Nah, not mine. Judgment Day will come for these war pigs. That you can be sure of. Anyway, like always, sorry about your toes if I stepped on them. Bumpers out. Subscribe.